Good morning, evening, afternoon. I always say good morning and it might not necessarily be where you are. Welcome to episode 37. We're marching along. My aim for today is to stay on track, to not be distracted and go off on tangents, and to remember everything. And to assist me with that, I've written quite a comprehensive list. Right, I'm going to be all podcastery now and talk about what I'm wearing. You have seen this before. I'm wearing the Autumn Wings shawl by Alex of My Yarny Corner. And the reason I'm wearing it today is that the pattern is now available to buy. You've probably all watched Alex and know that and gone to buy it anyway, if you're that way inclined. It's only available on Etsy at the moment as far as I know, but I will link it below if I can. Yes, so that's why I'm wearing this, with a top that really doesn't go with it, but I didn't think it through. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to start off properly with my confessions because I'm just going to get them out of the way. I said, like an awful lot of us, that I was just going to work from stash this year, and that is still my intention. You can tell there's a but coming, can't you? I'd ordered a sock club, and I'd already ordered it before, sorry for rustling, before the end of December, and it's the Little Lycac Yarns Fairy Tale Sock Club, and this is January's. I'm fairly safe, I think, now to show you because she's shown it on Instagram. January's was Thumbelina, and the yarn is this. Oops. It's her luxury sock set, which is 85% extra fine superwash merino, 15% nylon. There's a 100-gram skein and a 20-gram skein. These may or may not become socks. I might have a different plan for them both. And with it came, oh, one of them's on there, gorgeous little butterfly stitch marker, which again tones with the yarn and everything and is relevant to the story. A tiny bar of chocolate, because of course Thumbelina, very, very small, and a thimble. I think it's very clever the way she's made the extras applicable to the fairy tale as well. Very, very clever. Unfortunately, I can't afford to buy it again this month because, well, I was going to say Ewan is inconsiderate enough to have a birthday, but that's my fault really, not his, isn't it? So yeah, money's a bit tight this month, but I will almost certainly, sorry rustling, be getting others during the year. And I'm reliably informed, admittedly by Amanda from Little Lycac, that sock clubs don't count when you're trying to work from stash, so that's okay. However, there was another little slip up. It was only a little slip up. I'd also ordered these. They're from Ducky Darlings and it's her Misfit mini bundle. So you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what weights and you don't know what colours. It's just, well, it's another mystery really, isn't it? But they're all either underweight for 10, 20 or 40 grams. So they can't be sold as those, but they can be whacked together into a mini bundle. And of course I am making the Triangulum Blanket. And I thought, well, they'd be very handy for that. So I did slip up and get those. But I also received, I was going to say it was a gift, and it's part gift, but it's part swap. I did a swap with Jane from Mouse's Make. No, I'm Mouse's Makes. Jane was Mouse Knits and Crafts. I sent her some yarn that she needed, and she sent me a load of minis. So I'm well set up for my Triangulum blanket now. I don't think they're really a confession because I swapped them. But I could, I suppose, have been shown a bit more character, and when she said, "What can I send you back?" said, "Nothing, nothing, Jane." But she said the word minis, and I'm a bit mini obsessed at the moment, so yeah, I have minis. That's all my confessions though. Other than that, I've been a good girl. I've been a particularly good girl. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Look what I have finished. Ta-da! I have finished Peter's cardigan. Hooray! The crowd goes wild. It's a lovely, lovely cardigan. And I don't know why I took 7 months to make it, really. Particularly as I saw a post on one of the knitting groups that I belong to on Facebook, from a lady who's only been knitting for a couple of years and has knit a sweater for herself and one for her husband, far more complicated than this, in 2 months. So shame on me, really. But in all seriousness, I found it very difficult because I've got a bit of arthritis in this thumb and I have tendonitis in this wrist, and the larger needles and the heavy weight of it, I couldn't knit on it for very long, so it only got knit on short periods of time, whereas other things I will just knit on for hours and hours and hours until I have to stop for one reason or another. But we got there. I had intended to put in a zip because I'm going to have to like hang it somewhere because it's killing my arm. Let me hang it there. Oh, that's better. Not that you can see it anymore because it's in the dark. I'd intended to put a zip in it. It looks like it's enormous now, but it's just perspective, I promise you. The pattern, poppy hair. The pattern really, I think, wanted those leather woven buttons, and they are hideously expensive. And I couldn't find any cheap alternatives that looked nice, really. So I was going to put in a zip, and then Peter suggested toggles, and really, yet again, he shows he's got far more sense of style than I have. The toggles. Here we go again. Excuse me. The toggles finish it off perfectly. They are wooden, but I don't imagine it's going to go for a wash terribly often. So it's honestly, there's poppy hairs all over it. Sorry, Peter. It's lucky he likes poppy. There's poppy hairs all over everything. Nope, tangent, not allowed to do that. Sorry. Yes, so that's all finished. It's all ready to go. He very kindly allowed me to hang on to it until today so I could show you. Let me see if I can spin it round and show you the back. Oh no, I can't get it to hook back in. There's the back. It is a lovely pattern. I just found the weight of it and the size of the needles a bit challenging. The pattern is, and I've actually written it down today. Are you proud of me? It's Hayfield 9552, and it's an Aran pattern. I will try and link that below as well. Let me write a circle around it. Okay. There's that. Oh, I didn't notice. I was going to tell you if the colour had come out. The colour's coming out a bit more yellow, but better than it did in electric light. It's a burgundy. And, oh my goodness, I was so organised and I forgot that I was organised. Look, I had the ball band. Hayfield bonus Aran shade 0764 Burgundy, and it is 80% acrylic, 20% wool, and I used 1,591 meters. All that organising I did and nearly forgot about it. Shocking. Okay. Current projects. Right. I didn't show you this one last week because I hadn't done anything on it, and I have caught up a little bit. This is going to be lovely and delicate. This is the Botanic Shawl by Stephen West. That's where I was last time you saw it, my little bit of Christmas cake, because it was my Christmas Day cast on, and I've done this much. And you can see the colours are pretty much all there now. It's quite light and airy, you can still see through it. What size needle is it knit on? I think it might be a 3.75. It's worn off the needle. I'll have a look in the pattern in a second. Yeah, so that's going to be quite nice and light and airy, but very warm because it's knit in sock yarn. So much for being all on track and professional. I've fallen at the hurdles already. Yes, 3.75. Sorry, it's all crinkled. That's the shawl, which you're probably quite familiar with anyway. And I'm knitting it in the black, which is the main colour, is West Yorkshire Spinners Licorice, and the striping sock yarn is Zorba Ball Smoking Area. Gosh, I'm amazed I remembered that. Didn't remember I'd put a ball band aside, but I remembered that. I hope I'm not whizzing through too quickly this week, but I'm trying to make it a nice short one, because my intention was for them to be short, and then last week stretched on for 40 minutes. This I did show you last week. This is growing, and this is an interesting thing. I'm very much enjoying this, and I will certainly knit it again. This is called Advent Envy. Right, so this is going to be tricky to show you because... Right, okay, I'm going the other way now. So this you've seen before. Let me see if I can squeeze it along the needles. So the blue bit you'd seen before. And I'd got to... Somewhere there's a progress keeper. Yes, there. See the little skull there? And I was going in this direction. So that's where I was last time you saw it. Got up to here, and then you switch and you go in the other direction. So now the cream and green that you see, we're going in this direction. It's quite interesting. It's quite fun to knit. I haven't done today's section yet. Today is the 19th, so it should be finished, because it's obviously, because it's designed for Advents, it's divided into 25 sections, so 25 days. So it should be finished by the time you see it next week. Some days the knitting is longer than others. I don't really know why, because it's not divided evenly. But it's an interesting pattern, and you wouldn't have to necessarily knit it with Advent skeins. You could knit it with any minis. You need 10 grams of each colour. The leftovers I'm putting into my Triangulum Blanket, and it's going to come out a decent size, I think. And this section of it, oh, it's very squishy. It's lovely and squishy. I'm just hoping, because it rolls over a lot, that I can block that out, because that will annoy me otherwise. But yeah, so I've done this much and then this much in a week, following the daily pattern. I'm going to move my progress, my marker, while I think of it. Stick that there. Right, the pattern is called Advent Envy, and it's by Amanda Rios. You can add tassels. I won't be adding tassels, which is a shame because I think they look really nice, but cats and tassels do not make happy bedfellows. I got a shawl out to wear, it was last time I went to the hospital, and it's got a tassel on like the main point of it, and I put it down on the sofa while I went to get my coat, and by the time I came back there was a cat dragging it across the floor by the tassel. No more tassels. It's fine, it's a sacrifice I can make, that's okay. So that's that one, which will be finished, as I say, should be finished for you to see next week, although it might not be blocked, depends. Can't quite work out whether I'll finish it on Tuesday in time to have it blocked and dried. Might do. We'll see next week. It'll be a surprise. And the other whip that I had to show you was my Triangulum blanket. I'm not intending to show you this every week because I think it will get a bit boring, but I might show it to you once a month after this. But I wanted to show it to you this week because I thought it might explain a bit better what I was trying to explain last week, and I'm not sure if I got it across terribly well. So, very hard to show you. No, that's not going to work. How about that way up? That way up. So the green is going to be the centre of the blanket, and then I'm now building the row around the centre. So we've got a neutral square, hexagon. Never was very good at maths. I can do algebra though, because it's letters and pictures. I can do it best with pictures. Sorry, tangents, and I wasn't going to do that. Yes, neutral hexagon, pink hexagon. They'll be mirrored over here. So a neutral one opposite this one, pink one opposite this one, and then these two I'm thinking are going to be blue. And then I'll start building, once I've got that row circle done, I'll start building the next ones on exactly the same as I've done here. So I'm really enjoying this. It's the Triangulum Blanket by Ellie Jones from Craft House Magic. I will try and link that below as well. Sorry, if I don't write it down, then we're doomed. And I'll remember it at about 2 o'clock in the morning, sometime later in the week, and it'll be too late. So, those are projects that you know about. I have 2 new cast-ons. I've not really, well, I have got one here to show you, but I haven't brought it up to show you because I've got that much of it, which isn't terribly exciting. But I've cast on, now that I have the cardigan finished, I've cast on the Painting Honeycombs by Stephen West. I'm sorry, I know I got distracted again, and I'm going to have to tell you why. On next door's washing line there is a peg, well there's many pegs, but there is a particular peg, and the sunlight is catching it and the wind, and so it's just like flashing like an SOS message at me. It's very distracting out the corner of my eye and has undone my good work not to be distracted and go off at a tangent. Stupid peg. Painting honeycomb sweater. It's going to be dark grey, clearly. This is Stylecraft Special DK in graphite. And I haven't got the ball out that I'm going to use for the honeycombs yet. I think I showed you before though. But you might see that next week as well. You should see that next week. I should be onto the honeycombs by next week. I've also cast on a pair of socks, and I haven't brought them to show you because I've got one leg done. And I'm doing those for Dear Designs Year of the Sock 2022. And the prompt for January is grey skies, so they're also grey, which is cool because I do like grey. Grey is one of my go-to colours. I'm not going to say favourite colours because they're all my favourite colours. We've established that. But to wear, grey is one of my go-to colours. And I'm using the Dunbrook sock pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, but I'm adapting it slightly. I'm going to do a different heel and I've changed the cuff. But the main body of the sock is the Dunbrook pattern. You should see those next week finished as well. I'm promising an awful lot for next week. I'd better deliver, hadn't I? Okay. Raced through it and I'm done. Look at that, half the time it took me last week. Anyway, I'll put some photographs up later of the cardigan on Instagram. Everywhere that you can find me is usually below: Facebook, Instagram, Ko-fi, Ravelry. I normally put it all down below. And I will put the links to those patterns. Sorry, I was just wondering if I'd put the sock pattern down there as a link as well, but I'll wait until they're finished. Otherwise I'd spend hours editing and my battery goes flat. Anyway, I'm done. One minor distraction. I'm very pleased with myself. And only 22 minutes of your time taken up this week. Gold star on my podcaster chart. So I'm going to say, see you next week, where I shall hopefully have done all the things that I promised you. And until then, from a beautiful sunny day in Somerset, happy knitting.